Because this is all orchestrated, what they're doing. None of this is on accident. It is absolutely, every bit of it is orchestrated. And it goes beyond trying to destroy Caitlin Clark. The real agenda is to destroy free speech. The WNBA is a political organization designed to install, promote Marxism and communism.
Caitlin Clark is clearly the frontrunner for Rookie of the Year, but earlier this year, some commentators, including Monica McNutt, made peculiar remarks about her. McNutt suggested that it was somewhat disrespectful for Clark to be on Team USA, or at least
it's being used as a wedge to install the feminist identity politics movement everywhere. I've been trying to explain to people how important the sports world is into controlling the culture. And they got to use the WNBA to further control the culture and push an agenda that destroys free speech and destroys our Constitution.
Implied it, although I can't recall her exact quotes from First Take. She reiterated her stance on Get Up in early July.
That's what's at the foundation of all of this. It's not Caitlin Clark. It's the destruction of our Constitution, the destruction of our fundamental rights of free speech. If there is no free speech, what comes behind that is there's no freedom of religion. Marxism hates religion.
By that time, Clark had already achieved a triple-double, highlighting how competitive the Rookie of the Year race was. For instance, Angel Reese was only at plus 350 odds, making her a legitimate. In a recent WNBA playoff game, Caitlin Clark experienced an eye poke from Dejonai Carrington, which sparked a lot of discussion. This reminds me of an event that changed my life. In 2016, I was driving to a reunion with friends when a distracted driver ran a red light and crashed into me. My car was total, and I ended up needing multiple knee surgeries. Insurance companies often try to pay you less than what you deserve after an accident, which is why I'm excited to introduce our sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. They're the largest personal injury law firm in the country and can fight for the best possible result for your case if you become their client. Whether it's a minor accident or something more serious, they make sure the insurance company doesn't shortchange you. The best part? You don't pay them up front. If they don't win, you don't pay. If you ever find yourself in an accident, remember your options. You can start your claim now by clicking the link in description below. Thanks to Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring this video.
Because they know a man obedient to God has a line in the sand and something he will die over. No, I'm not going to do that. I'd rather die. See, that's what religious faith will do. You'll have conviction so strong like, nah, I'm not going to let you continue to enslave a group of people. God's going to judge me for that, and so I will go to war to end slavery. And then there are people who's like,
Contender. This wasn't an unreasonable position, as at that point Reese was averaging just a couple of points less than Clark while leading the league in rebounds. When it comes to my pick for Rookie of the Year,
just not going to let you murder babies in the womb. And I'm going to draw a line in the sand over that. And I'm not going to budge on this issue. That's what religion does. It gives you a backbone. And they want it uprooted. And so you have to uproot free speech in order to uproot freedom of religion. And so I'm just telling you, they've created this free speech crisis over social media. Are you not looking?
I'm going to base it on the standings. It's just wild, and that's what she got called out for. A person who typically isn't a fan of Clark mentioned that their choice for Rookie of the Year would depend on the standings.
These harmless beacons of positivity in the WNBA, we can't even go out and play without these Indiana Fever fans, these Caitlin Clark fans, tweeting mean things to us. It must be stopped. Someone has to stop Elon Musk and X and that platform. Oh,
For those who might not know, at this point in the season, the teams were only half a game apart. I believe that's a fair way to assess a player's impact. The Sky were just ahead in the standings and currently in the playoffs, so I would lean towards Angel Reese.
Don't you understand the pain that it's causing when someone criticizes Honey DeJournette over Twitter? Let's throw out free speech so Honey DeJournette can be free. That's the argument they're making. And that, oh my God, Brittany Griner. Oh, these tweets, they're worse than being in a Russian prison.
What I find interesting is that when this discussion happened, the teams were actually tied. They had the same number of games back, with just a tiny 0.4 difference in their win percentages. I remember it.
Don't you get it? She'd rather go back to Russia and sit in a cell than have to deal with all the online harassment and racism. Oh, it's a pandemic. We have to come up with a social media vaccine that will stop this pandemic. Let's shut down everything until this pandemic of mean tweets is addressed. And so Brittany Griner can live free. I want to play you the clip of Brittany Griner.
Clearly, it was practically a tie. Angel is on an impressive double-double streak, aiming for 12 to break a record that has stood for over 2 seasons. I think she's already hit 11. Plus, when you consider her surroundings, head coach Teresa Weatherspoon is in her first year, and there's no other #1 draft pick on that team right now. Right now, that roster doesn't have another all-star. What I find most interesting about Monica McNutt is that she had to make a choice. Either apologize at some point or stick to her guns. To her credit, she chose to stick with her stance. Do you all think she made the right call by doubling down? Was it funny to see her do that? The very next day after Caitlin Clark won a game, she declared Caitlin Clark's Rookie of the Year, and I really dislike how some people are calling her out for it. It seems like they're taking shots at her, claiming she's being insincere. I always think it's important to remember that someone can be wrong. Would you prefer they double down like Cheryl Swoops, or insist that Jade Melbourne should have been Rookie of the Year? Or do you think it's better for even the biggest Caitlin Clark critics to acknowledge, yeah, she's really talented? Which side do you prefer? Personally, I'd rather people own up to their mistakes. Here's the issue. It's pretty funny, you know, how things change. Like, remember that one person who used to really dislike Caitlin Clark? I can't recall exactly what they said, but they were definitely not a fan. But now the Indiana Fever is a force to be reckoned with, all thanks to Caitlin Clark. And I think it's great when people are willing to change their minds and appreciate true talent. It's better than holding on to that negativity, you know? The pass she delivered to Aaliyah Boston, where she was fouled and missed against Dallas, was truly a standout moment of the season. She made a strong drive along the baseline, initially appearing as if she would execute a classic Steve Nash-style dribble. Instead, she went behind her back and continued with that Steve Nash dribble before getting fouled during her cut. Many fans are expressing frustration over recent comments made by Monica McNutt regarding Caitlin Clark. An article from Athlon Sports highlights how McNutt has faced backlash for her sudden shift in perspective on Clark. Some are questioning if McNutt has declared her choice for Rookie of the Year, as her previous remarks seem to undermine Clark's achievements. McNutt has been criticized for suggesting that Clark's rise has overshadowed the contributions of other players in the WNBA, particularly with her earlier comments in June, which many deemed misguided. She claimed it was disrespectful to the league to include Clark on the Olympic team, and argued that Angel Reese should be recognized as Rookie of the Year based on standings, especially after Reese's impressive performance in a game against Seattle. At that time, the statistics between Reese and Clark were quite close, with Clark not even leading the league in assists per game. Overall, the discourse around McNutt's comments reflects a broader tension within the WNBA community about recognition and representation, particularly as Clark's popularity continues to grow. At this point in the season, she was ranked around 4th in assists per game, which sparked some debate. However, right after Monica McNutt made her comments, Caitlin Clark had an incredible 5-game stretch that showcased her skills, while Angel Reese faced a tough time with fouls that prevented her from reaching the 10 points she needed. It was a memorable moment, especially as the clock was winding down. I don't really focus on opinions or judgments, especially when people reference old takes to evaluate current performances. There were definitely moments when Angel Reese could have been considered for Rookie of the Year. Personally, I thought Clark was the frontrunner, yet I always maintained that it was reasonable to consider Reese for the title at that time. At one point this year, I might have considered Angel Reese for Rookie of the Year, but that's changed. She had a strong start, but Caitlin Clark has been improving consistently with each game. Angel Reese seemed to peak back in June, so now it's clear there's no debate. It's completely fine to change your mind about these things. Just like in the NBA, many people are focused on homegrown Rookie of the Year candidates until Christmas. Let's move to our second story. The Chicago Sky and Angel Reese have been in the spotlight lately. In yesterday's video about Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever's recent win, I touched on some questions surrounding Angel Reese's injury. Some folks were wondering if she pulled out because she didn't win the Rookie of the Year award, or if the team decided to bench her for some reason. It seems she's quite upset about the situation. There's a lot of focus on her feelings. She mentioned that the team gave her the option to play through the pain, but she decided it wasn't worth it. She wants to have a long career in basketball, so she opted out. It's surprising to hear that, especially since her team is fighting hard to make the WNBA playoffs. Some might see this as her giving up on her teammates, particularly since the team believes she was healthy enough to play. It's quite a bold stance. Her attitude is unbearable, and I just can't keep watching her. In case you missed it, she said, "Did I fake an injury? Let's be real. I literally played with my ankle like a golf ball when we played against Iowa. You know I'm hurt when I can't play. They need to tell me, like, you have to stop. You can't play." That's what they were saying yesterday. Then in the very next breath, she mentioned that they gave her options to play and manage the pain, so she's contradicting herself. They told her to sit, yet they offered her a chance to play. That just doesn't add up. Honestly, this attitude of hers is wild. It's just so foul. Now, let's get into it, because I've been saying that Camila Cardoso is the standout rookie on this team, and with Angel Reese out, the Chicago Sky really shined. They crushed it with a score of 192-77. Guess who had a double-double? Cardoso, 11 rebounds, 10 points, 3 assists, and 2 blocks, proving she can really defend. A lot of people noticed this, by the way. Many did. I've been critical of the Chicago Sky, but they were fantastic tonight. They played their best game overall, with everyone contributing. A lot of people saw it too. Honestly, the Chicago Sky seems to be performing better without Angel Reese. There's some buzz around Chicago lately, and it's not about any violence, which is a relief. The Chicago Sky just wrapped up their season without Angel Reese, and it seems like they're finding their rhythm. A lot of fans were surprised by how well they played, especially since they were missing all of Angel's stats. Seriously, a lot of things, it is one game, but something clicked for the Sky. Their offense was firing on all cylinders, moving the ball effectively. Camila Cardoso made a significant impact with a huge block, showcasing her defensive skills. "Get that trash out," she seemed to say as she denied the shot. Fans noticed that the team performed better without Reese. Wow, they looked really good without Angel. The teamwork was impressive, and they appeared to finally come together on the court. It seems Cheryl Swoops underestimated them. They really can win without Reese. I said yesterday morning, man, if this team goes on a run and they win, say, 5 out of the last 6 games with that Angel Reese, oh, whoa. The rest of the team stepped up, looking much more cohesive and fluid in their play. The team really improved, and Chicago has some issues ahead. Just take a look at Cardoso. That little touch pass shows she has some serious skills for a player of her size. With one quick dribble, she scores effortlessly. Seriously, guys, the WNBA even shared it. She was just one rebound away from a